What's up again, everybody? Today, we've got a story about a girl who cheated, and the guy just won't let it go. Here we go. I, 29 female, cheated on my husband, 30 male, over a year ago, and he has been punishing me since. Can I still save the marriage? Some backstory. I've been with my husband for almost 7 years in total. We got married within a year of meeting and have 2 children together. He's an amazing man and an amazing person. Handsome, well-educated, good-paying job, and has never cheated or disrespected me in any way before all of this happened. My close friends and family always remind me of how lucky I have been in life to meet him and what an amazing guy he is. I used to look at us like soulmates. About a year ago, I ended up going out with a group of friends for a birthday party, in which I ended up very, very drunk and sleeping with a man who had been flirting with me the entire night. It was the first time I felt so good in many years, and I can't explain why, but I ended up going home with him. Within minutes of realizing what mistake I had done, I ordered a taxi home and confessed to my husband, crying, feeling incredible regret, and literally hating myself for it. He initially stayed quiet and calm, but let me know he wanted a divorce. But after begging and begging, we ended up going to counseling. When at the counseling sessions, he never seemed to be coherent and just sits and scrolls on his mobile. Whenever he gets a question about his feeling or what he can do to improve, he says something along the lines of, divorcing a whore maybe? Or very negative answers directed towards me. Most of the time, he does not even seem to care and just stays quiet, even being asked questions, and when we are trying to engage him into the conversation. I realize the mistake I have done, and I have spent the past year doing everything I can to save the marriage. It has gotten to the point where I even agree to do sexual acts which I despise for him, such as anal sex. I have been cleaning the house, cooking, and all the chores in the house by myself, with no help on his side. Whatever he asks for, you name it, I have done it all. He has these outbursts in which he calls me horrible names. Sometimes the children can hear it from their bedrooms, and moments in which he just completely ignores me, walks through the house as if I don't exist. He always treats the children with love and never badmouths me to them to try to keep them away from our arguments. Sometimes, if I do not perform certain things, no matter the time, such as anal sex or other things, he starts telling me he will divorce me and leave me, or begins mentioning my infidelity, telling me this is all my fault. He says he did a mistake marrying me and calls me a whore and other words. I also know he has been speaking to a woman, and when I confront him about it, he literally starts mentioning my infidelity. I have no proof of whether he has met anyone behind my back, but I just want everything to turn back into the way they were. One time, when I brought up a message I had seen from another woman on his phone, he grabbed my hand and took me to the main hall and pointed to the door and told me the exit is right there if I want to leave, and that he doesn't give a shit of what I think or feel. I feel as if I have lost the caring, loving husband I once had and turned him into this monster. I love him to death and can't imagine myself with anyone else. I regret my mistake every single day and just want my family back. I don't know if I can save this marriage, but I am willing to do whatever it takes. I don't know what I'm asking for. Maybe just I need to vent out, but I just wish I could go back in time and reverse all this. Before I read the update, I thought it would be good to include an impactful comment by You Me Seeks 82, whose view on the situation aligns perfectly with mine. They said, give him his divorce. I'm trying to sympathize with you. You're trying to make it work, but you made a huge mistake by going home with another man because of your drunk feelings. You categorized him as the perfect man. I believe he's trying to piece together the logic to your infidelity, to which there is none. You single-handedly ruined your family. He has come to terms with the person you are now from the person he married. I agree his outbursts are concerning around your children, and they are valid concerns. But he's also a human. He has to live with the fact that the person he promised to love, cherish, and be faithful to in front of your family and friends, also the mother of his children, willingly chose to put herself above what you two built together. His feelings of frustration and wanting to divorce are reactions to your night of fun. I can't imagine what he's going through. You've tried. Now it's time to understand some things, when broken, cannot be fixed. Okay, now for the update. I confronted my husband today. As many people have stated, I have had a feeling he doesn't want to try anymore and that he just wants to move on. Initially, I walked up to him and wanted to explain the entire situation about how I understand his pain and how I understand that he no longer wants to work on the marriage and move on. So I told him, if this is what he truly wants, I will accept it and let him move on with his life, but that I truly love him and forever will. He just stood silent and looked at me, came up and hugged me and started to cry. I started to cry as well. This was the first time I felt a genuine, loving hug and emotion from him in a long time. After what felt like a few minutes of crying and hugging, he finally let go and asked me to come sit down with him. He started letting me know that he still loves me with all his heart and that he loves our children, but he has a hard time forgetting and moving on for what happened. He said that he has these angry, raging moments not only because of the hatred of what I had done, but also because he had these images in his head of what I had done. He can't forget about them. He told me he had plenty of women flirting with him over the years, and that he had plenty of chances to stray away from loyalty, but that I and the kids always meant more to him than a few moments of pleasure, and that he never could have done what I did to him, that he loved me too much to hurt me. I broke down even more when I heard him saying this. He then kept on telling me how something is broken within him that cannot be fixed. He said he had been chatting with other women these months, but never actually slept or done anything physical with them because he did not feel it was the right thing to do. Hearing me tell him that he can move on was the first time he felt I finally understood how he is feeling inside and how broken he is. He told me that he does not know what the future holds for us, but that he, for the moment being, wants to be single, explore his own life, and maybe we will end up together in the future. But for the time being, he needs to work on himself away from me. I told him I would agree to sign the divorce papers if he wanted a divorce, and that I did not want anything from him. What he brought into the marriage is his, and I don't want to take that away from him. He earns much more money than me, but I still don't want him to have to use that money on me, so I don't want child support as well. Hearing all this made him cry, and he said he hopes he can forgive me one day, but that time apart will do us both good and let us both reflect on our lives. He said that he will get a lawyer and bring the divorce papers in a week or so. I will not meet anyone else after the divorce, and I don't want to either. I truly hope he comes back to me one day so we can have our old family back. I wish I could take back everything. I really have huge feelings of remorse, and just lost the one person that truly is my soulmate. I guess I am getting divorced. Here's a thoughtful comment from someone made in a response to this story. And let me know if you agree in the comments. I'll share my opinion at the end. User Eros Tyrannus. In some ways, your cheating was both better and worse on him. Better because it was not done maliciously to hurt him over some real or perceived grievance. You did not set out thinking, I'm going to cheat on my husband. Worse because it was done with no thought at all. It was a mistake. A human mistake. I think that is part of what your husband is going through. The realization that the woman he married is not some perfect angel, but a real human woman with real human flaws. I don't know what he built his identity on, but if it involved the idea of being a man whose wife would never cheat on him to some angel or goddess, that part of his identity is destroyed. That image he had of himself has died. So who is he now? That is the question he has been asking himself. All of this while also judging both your and his own actions towards you in the wake of this incident. The marriage you had together is dead. Nothing will ever bring it back. If your marriage was a forest, then what happened was a fire that burned everything down. But I don't think that all is lost. You have to let go of the old marriage to allow a new one to grow. Just like how a forest fire destroys the old to allow for new growth. This in no way absolves you of your mistake, but everything I have learned over the years tells me that you have to build a new marriage from the broken pieces of this one. You cannot go back in time and get back what you had exactly as you had it. I know that there are others on this subreddit who have said the same thing. It is also possible that he may have guilt of his own. I believe when he says that he never cheated on you, but he did say that women would flirt with him. Perhaps he had a fantasy, just a brief thought. What if I had an affair with this woman and my wife would never find out? We all play what-if games in our heads every day. What if I won the lottery? What if I won that Caribbean vacation, etc.? Some of these what-if games can show us just how capable of doing morally wrong we can be. We have all had the thought of punching that annoying coworker in the face, or finally one-upping those annoying friends who are always winning when you play games with them. His guilt may also be coming from the way he has treated you. Though you did wrong, you have been working hard to make amends. Even he can see that. Perhaps he thinks, she is working so hard, but I just can't get these images out of my head. Maybe I don't deserve to be with her because if I was really as good a person as I thought I was, I would have been able to forgive her and move on by now. However, he may not have thought of himself as a bad guy. That is why he was treating you so poorly. And maybe that he was thinking, if she leaves, that it is not because I am a bad person, but because she is. He may also be unsure of you. I can believe that you are unsure of yourself. Who are you? Are you the loving wife or mother who has repented and sacrificed to restore what is broken? Or are you the woman who got drunk and had sex with another man? The answer is that you are both and neither. You are not just your mistakes, but you do have to examine those mistakes and ask yourself, how have these mistakes shaped me thus far? And how would future mistakes shape who I will be in the future? To be the person you want to be in the future, you may have to kill some part of yourself in the present. You did not set out to cheat on your husband when you started drinking that night, but that is where you ended up. Perhaps you need to ask yourself, am I willing to kill the person I become when I drink by giving up drinking to become the person that is married to this man? I'm sure many people have already talked about how hard it is to rebuild the trust, but I don't think people always consider what that means. You are human in his eyes now, flawed, just like him. You can make promises that you can't or won't keep. He should know. He has plenty of memories of promises he broke to others. How can he ever trust you again, knowing that you are just as prone to break promises as he is? The answer is courage. He has to find the courage to open his heart and reach out and trust you again, knowing that you may fail again. And you may. Don't be naive. You don't know the future. You may very well break his trust again. You are, after all, human. So what should you do? Have the courage to aim for being the person who does not break his trust? Ask yourself, what does that woman look like? And then make your goal to be her. And you should view him the same way. He is as human as you. And because of that, he has the same human flaws and can make the same human mistakes. I do think that to reconcile, your husband will have to find the courage to step out and say, I am choosing to place my trust in you again, even though I know you are capable of betraying me again, because I believe the people we are capable of being when we are together are worth more than trust. I hope that whatever happens, you both find meaning in your lives. In my opinion, OP, divorcing him is the best thing you could do for the both of you. He still probably feels defeated despite it being 1 year, and you longing for unrealistically getting back together is unhealthy. You regretted it only after the fact, not in the cab, not in his house, not even during the act. Using alcohol as a reason doesn't fly here since you went home immediately afterwards and confessed. I hope you were able to find a new therapist to help you move forward. Saying you aren't going to be seeing anyone hoping he'll eventually get back with you is not a good idea in my opinion. You cheated so easily on a random night out with some guy that flirted with you. I'd have a heck of a time believing it wouldn't happen again, especially if you're single. Good luck and wishing all of those involved the best.